Hey, what's up guys, it's the Cats47 here, finally back with another video. So guys, I did tell you off in my last video that I was going to do it. Basically show you guys some new decks for this upcoming format. And probably I am also going to do a little ban list prediction video. Which that'll probably be my next video. But for now, what I want to show you guys is the deck that I've been working on for the last few weeks. Ever since like mid-July or early July, I was thinking, okay, what deck should I play after this, the Power of the Elements comes out? I was like, do I want to play Sply? Do I want to play Tearlaments? A couple of months ago, I actually wanted to play Tearlaments really badly because I thought it was really cool that it was a combination of like Burning Abyss and like Shaddolls. You mill cards, you get effects, fusion summon effects and all that. That's pretty cool. But when I found out about the Ishizu cards and then I found out like how many people really gonna play the deck, I was like, I don't like playing the deck that everyone else is playing. I don't like mirror matches that much, to be honest. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just try to find a different deck instead. And Splight is pretty cool, but I don't know. That was a deck that I kind of wanted to play the least, or found the least interesting. So I didn't really. I was like, we'll see. And I ended up finding Exosisters, so that's what the deck I ended up going with. So that's what I'm going to show you guys today. My Exosister deck profile that I've been working on and I finally completed in the past few days. So I was on my vacation, so I couldn't show it to you guys, but now I'm going to show you guys. So let's get right into it. Alright guys, so let's get right into the deck profile. Of course, for the, for the Exosister monsters, the main ones we got. This is the new addition from Power of the Elements, Exosister Martha. I don't like that name. I like Malfa better, but this card is literally what made the deck playable. Basically a one card rank 4 monster, and you don't even have to commit your normal summon, so that's amazing. And also the fact that all the other Exosister monsters only get their effects if your opponent moves a card from, or if a card gets moved from your opponent's graveyard. Your opponent has to move one from either graveyard, but it's your opponent. So obviously your opponent could try to play around that, but Malfa or Martha can actually, she gets her effect to XYZ summon as a quick effect if either player moves a card. So like if you have Called By, or if you have DD Crow and you want to trigger Martha's effect, then you can. So that's pretty nice. Really good addition to the deck, honestly, with Power of the Elements. So very, very good card you want to see at 3 for sure. And then the rest of them, like the Exosisters, we got 3 Ellis, 3 Stella, and we got 3 Sophia, and 2 Irene. So these are my ratios for the deck. Ellis and Stella are definitely 3-ups for sure. Like Stella lets you get another Exosister out of the hand, and Ellis is like the extender one that can special summon herself if you control an Exosister monster. So definitely 3-ups for these. A lot of people play like 2-1 or 3-1 of these two. I like Sophia just because, she gets you a free draw. So it's really nice if you control an Exosister. Really good card. But I have the names. I needed to up the names because I am playing Desires. So you definitely do want to have a few more names and also you want to open, like if you don't open Malfa, you need to open 2 Exosister monsters to play the game, or like 1 Exosister and packs. So I definitely feel like you need this amount of monsters. Like these, I'm not playing like the Zoroa package or anything like that. So these are all the monsters you have, and especially if you're playing Desires, you're gonna banish some of them sometimes. So you definitely want to play multiples. Irene is definitely the weakest one, which is definitely why we only play 2, not 3, even with Desires in the build. You also need the Irene though, because if you want to use Vadis, and let's say you run out of options for these, then you can still bring out Sophia with Irene, since Irene is mentioned on Sophia's text. So that's why I definitely feel like you need to play 2. 1, if you banish it off Desires, it kind of turns off your Vadis in some scenarios. So these are my ratios for it. So I think it's still, like, if you're playing the Desires build, I do think it's pretty standard, honestly. If you're playing Prosperity, then you can get away with just 1. For spell and traps, we have 3 packs and 1 armament. These are obviously packs is standard at 3. It's like your Rhoda or your E-Telly for this deck. I mean, it can be either because it lets you add an Exosister monster, or if you already have one of the names mentioned in the text in the field or graveyard, then you can, it's an E-Telly, you can special summon the monster you searched. And then Arment, I am considering bumping this card to 2, not sure yet. I barely finished building the deck and I haven't had a chance to play it at any tourneys yet, but for now I'm playing 1, I'm going to test it out. I can definitely see the argument for 2 though, especially in the Desires build, but we'll see how it goes. Armament is obviously a good card to interrupt your opponent on their turn. You can search it, set it, and then on your opponent's turn, you can activate it to, quick effect or quick play, I guess. Just XYZ summon a monster if you want to interrupt your opponent. And now for the trap cards, the last of the Exosister cards, we have 3 Vadis and 2 Returnia. Oh my god, these names, like Litania and Malfa just sound better to me. Anyways, Vadis is like basically like Girgi. If y'all remember the Girgi deck, you can bring out 2 Exosister monsters from the deck, and you normally would bring it out like in response to like maybe your opponent activates Called By or something. You can chain Vadis, your Exosister comes out, Called By then resolves, which would banish a card from the graveyard, which is moving a card in the graveyard, so then your Exosister would trigger on a new chain. So that's pretty cool. And then Returnia, it's basically, it can add more interruptions like banishing to your effects. So it's the new card out of the Power of the Elements, so definitely obviously not as crazy as Martha, but still a good addition to the deck, honestly. 3 and 2 because this card, if you for some reason you break and you don't open names or a way to get to a rank 4 XYZ, this card lets you, like if you open this, it lets you play on your opponent's turn. You're not out, like you can set it and you can still play on your opponent's turn. And then Returnia, this card is good, of course, but you need to already control an Exosister. So the fact that you need to already be playing the game, it doesn't actually let you play itself. I think that's the reason I'm playing it at 2, honestly. So yeah, I don't think it's a 3 of, like, you don't want to open, honestly, I would not want to open multiples of this card. So yeah, I think 2 is perfect. And again, we're playing Desire, so you definitely want to play multiples of each of these. I know the ratios kind of vary between these. Some people play 3 of this, 2 of this. Some people play 2 and 2. But Vadis is just, in my opinion, really good in case you might break or something. You can still play the game. Now, going into, I guess, the best part of any deck, right? The going second cards, we got, of course, 3 Dimension Shifter and 3 Ash Blossom for the monster hand traps. Of course, these are the Shifter is Shifter, like I said, it's just an amazing card. If you can play it, you should definitely play it in a deck. And this deck doesn't really rely on the graveyard, so definitely main worthy. Ash Blossom, of course, very generic. Can use it under Shifter, so it's a good card. It hits almost any deck, Rogue or Meta, so pretty good. And then the last hand trap, Infinite Impermanence. Another card you can use under Shifter. I wanted to have cards that synergize with Shifter. Very good card. It plays around Talons and not once per turn, so very good. And then now for the going, I guess the hard going second cards. We got 3 Dark Ruler no more. Of course, this deck, a lot of the new decks right now from Power of the Elements, they can't utilize Droplet that well because they want to keep their hand advantage. So Dark Ruler is kind of like the better option for those decks. And same with this deck. You don't really want to discard your hand in this deck. So I think Dark Ruler is definitely better than Droplets for this specific deck. And of course, you need it against like Splight. So, and Tearlament. So definitely a very good card. And then I did decide to play 2 Lightning Storm. I'm not 100% sure if this is something I will keep for the future. But I mean, the Splight and even like Eldritch or Trap, any like back row hate. I mean, this card covers both. Like you can destroy your opponent's monsters or spell and traps, and that's really good. basically gives you the option for both. And I thought it'd just be a nice addition. Also, it can, out Mystic Mine. So, well, actually, it'd be hard to out Mystic Mine since you can only activate this card if you have no face-up cards. But, anyways, but this card isn't out to floodgates, all that stuff. So I thought it'd be pretty cool to just tech it in for now. This could in the future become like 2 DD Crow, since it is pretty nice. I mean, you can't use it under Shifter, but if you don't open Shifter and you have DD Crow, it can make some plays with Martha. But not sure yet. Or it could become a second Armament and maybe one other random card, maybe like an Upstart if I want to make a 39 card deck. So yeah, there's a few options, but for now I'm going to test this out, see how it plays out, since I think it'd be nice to have some main, in the main deck, out to back row or floodgates, or monsters too, if you want to clear the field. And then the last cards for the deck, we got 2 Pot of Desires and 1 Called By. Of course, Pot of Desires is a +2. Amazing. This deck needs like consistency or hand advantage, so Pot of Desires I think is the best card to utilize in this deck. Prosperity is also a very good option as well. Just if it lets you like search deeper into your deck, you only get 1 card, but you get the option to choose. Like if you see a Excavate 6, you can see a Martha, and may hopefully play the game. But I'm not saying everything in the extra deck is absolutely necessary, but I do think a lot of the extra, it's hard to banish 6 in this deck. 3 is not bad, but if you really need to see like a starter and you want to banish 6, I do feel like banishing 6 in this deck is a little hard to choose sometimes. So I just think Desires is just best overall. I mean, not saying Prosperity is not good. Prosperity is also good, but I like Desires better. And then of course Called By is Called By to play around hand traps, or it can even be used going second. They have an interruption like Snow in the Grave or something like that. Now for the extra deck, we are playing 2 Magnifica, of course, boss monster deck. Came out of Dimension Force. Really good card. It's the fact that its effects are like, you can use both effects on the same chain is really good. Quick effect, non-targeting banish, and then quick effect to tag out, dodge things like Imperm Veiler is really good. And then we got 3 of, the main card, Michalis. Michalis is just your spell trap searcher, and it's a targeting banish, but it can banish in the grave as well. All Magnifica is only on the field. It's a trade-off. Like this one targets, but it can banish in grave or field. Magnifica is only field, but it's non-targeting banish. And I forgot, Magnifica can also attack twice, so really good for OTKs. Michalis, like I said, it's a spell trap searcher. Really good card. Definitely a 3 of. Then we got 2 Asophil. This is basically the dweller of the deck. Your opponent can't activate graveyard effects. And it also lets you basically bounce a card. It targets, which it's okay. It's not amazing, but it's fine. Then we got 2 Caspitel. This is the monster searcher. So normally when you want to go for Magnifica, you summon Michalis, you summon Caspitel, you get to search a spell trap or a monster, and then you overlay them for Magnifica. So, and this one locks your opponent from special summoning from the graveyard. And each of the extras have little niche effects that they can't be destroyed like by monsters from the grave, or they can't be destroyed by battle from monster special summoning from the grave. So I need to get used to it to remember which one's which, because they're not like crazy interactions, but I'm sure these little interactions can come up at some point. 1 Jabreen. This is basically just the Imperm, and it boosts all your XYZs by 800, so you can OTK. 1 Bagushka. Card is broken. Basically, OTK or FTK against Despio or any decks that rely on, of course, monsters with levels like synchros and fusions. So really good card. And then you're playing XYZ deck, so we do play one Zeus. Obviously, Zeus is Zeus. And lastly, I didn't want the deck to hard lose to like a D barrier or something like that, so I decided to play a little link package. One Lina, one Celine, and the Axis Code Talker. Since, I mean, this deck is all spellcasters for Celine. It's easy to, you don't need to play Baylor. And then they're all light, so you can make Lina easily in this deck and just have to hope your opponent has a light monster. And then, of course, Axis Code is Axis Code. Broken card. To help, like, get rid of cards on the field or beat over big monsters. And that's it, guys. That's it for the Exosister deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you did. Stay tuned for one more deck profile that will be coming in the next few weeks, and then a Bandless prediction video. But yeah, guys, hope you guys enjoyed. See you on the next video. Peace out.